anybody married in the room? Okay, that's why, because we don't have that many. Now, for the guys, let me go ahead and educate you now. What the general rule is, thanks to De Beers, a racist, really rich company out of South Africa that used marketing to make this the rule is 2 months of salary is what you need to buy the diamond when you get married. So the basic lesson here for the guys is, for a diamond you have to invest. Now, a speech is a lot like a diamond, except for, instead of investing money, you have to invest effort and time. Now, what is the purpose I'm here today? I'm here to talk about diamonds, and the reason is because there's an analogy between diamonds and speeches. And the reason that I'm here is because Toastmasters has something called the Better Speaker Series. At a club, at least once a year, they ask that one speech be specifically about how to give better speeches or how to have and create a better club. So it works out very well that I was able to come here today because you had 2 speeches on Organize Your Speech. And this particular Better Speaker Series is about exactly that, speech crafting. How to, what I call craft, not write, but craft your speech and how to organize that particular speech. Now, if we go back to our analogy here of the diamond. Actually, I'm sorry, before I go back to the analogy of the diamond, let me ask you a quick question about diamonds and pearls. Because speeches are gifts. You notice we say giving a speech? So you should always be in the mindset of giving something beautiful, like a diamond or a pearl. There's kind of 3 main ways. Remember, Joel? Just 3 main ways. There's only 3 main ways. That a speech is usually put together. One of the ways that a speech is put together is the rough diamond way. And what the rough diamond is, you have an idea in your head. And you slowly chip away until it becomes a speech. So that'll happen, for example, let's say you're at work and your boss says, hey, I want you to give a summary of what we did this quarter. Well, a quarter is 3 months. That's a whole lot of information. That's a whole lot of data. You have to whittle it down into a speech. The second way is the pearl way. This is the way that I like. Even this idea for the Brilliant Diamond came out of that. It's one little thought that you have. And then, as Scott would say, you ruminate. And you think about it over and over. And so that little grain of sand, which is the original thought, becomes this pearl. It keeps adding and adding until you actually have a full speech. Now, each of us has different, which one of those 2 ways we kind of prefer. I usually prefer the pearl way. Then there's a third way. If you've ever done table topics, or if you haven't, you'll see it later on. And that third way is the Superman diamond way. You might remember the Superman show, black and white TV? All right? You might have seen it in reruns, okay? For those of you who didn't, there was in the 1950s a TV show, and it was Superman. And what Superman did is one time someone lost their diamond ring. I think he was helping them, and it fell over the valley or something. So he flies into a coal mine, and he grabs the piece of coal, and he squeezes it until it becomes a diamond. That's what table topics is. You get like 20 seconds to take an idea and then galvanize it into a speech really quickly. But that's what we do when we have impromptu speaking. In all 3 of these cases, you'll be able to use the concept of the Brilliant Diamond in formatting a speech. Now, this is the reason why a diamond is very similar to a speech. A diamond, if you're looking to buy a diamond, has the 5 things you need to look for. You need to look for the cut of the diamond, the color of the diamond, the clarity of the diamond, the carat of the diamond, and the quality of the diamond. It's the same thing for a speech. Instead of the cut, you want to say, what is the purpose of the speech? Why are you here? Or what kind of speech is it? Is it a seminar? Is it a 2-minute quick presentation? Is it a 5 to 7 minute speech for Toastmasters? Is it an entertaining speech to a group of people who are legionnaires? It's what kind of speech it's going to be, because that's going to define what kind of format you're actually going to have. The second is the color, which is the purpose of the speech. Is the purpose of the speech to make you laugh? Humor speech contest is coming up. Is it just to inform you, or is it to persuade you? George, you need to go out and start a hip-hop band right now. I know you're into music, but you're in the wrong kind. After today, it's going to be a hip-hop band, right? Is it to persuade? Okay? It's a different purpose. The carat is the content of your speech. In other words, do you have enough content for me to believe what you actually said? If I said today was a great day, that doesn't mean anything. I haven't given you any reason to believe it. But if I say today is a great day because I'm at a great Toastmasters club, today is a great day because I see 50, yes I counted, 50 wonderful smiling faces looking back at me ready to learn. And most importantly, why today is a great day, because in an hour and a half I'll be at the bar and we'll be able to have something to drink and eat. See, today is a great day. In other words, you have to give them a reason to believe what you're actually saying. That's the content. The quality is the delivery. It's the skills you use to get the speech across. And that is equivalent, to quality, because everyone has kind of different ways in which they actually give their speech. But it doesn't matter, as long as you can get the point across. And then the last one is the clarity of the diamond. And the speech clarity is what you actually do in your speaking style to make sure you do it the best. For me, I'm from the East Coast, and I can have an entire conversation like this for 2 hours, it'd be no problem. You come to my family union, this is how we all talk. But I had to learn when I went to Mexico, where English was a second language, to give a presentation, that I could not speak my normal way. So that was my point of clarity. So your clarity is how the information actually gets across to the people. So you can see it's very similar to a diamond. Now, most people here or have heard, what's the 3 basic parts of a speech? So it's the opening, the body, and the conclusion. Tell them what you're going to say it, tell them what you said. That's a little bit too simple. What I'm going to give you today is a way to visually see a speech, but add all the elements you need for a successful speech, not just those 3 basic parts. First part is your opening, but the opening really has 2 parts. It doesn't just have the tell them what you're going to say, a review of what you're saying. For example, if I was doing the MC Hammer speech, I would start off by playing the music, or having some pants, or just go, all of a sudden go. Confused, like, oh my God, what are they doing? The whole point of that is to pull in attention. That's a sharp opening. And you find a way to create a sharp opening. Now, I'm kind of crazy, wild kind of speaker. I'm kind of like Megan, we like to have fun in everything that we do. But you can also have a very calm opening. You can say, on the way walking here today, I passed 3 different homeless people. Still engaging. It still pulls you in. You want to know what I'm going to say. You have to find a way to have a sharp opening. And this is a drop of blood. Cut into them. It's got to be a sharp opening. This is a teardrop. Make them feel guilty. Make them cry. This is an explosion. This is my version. Do something exciting that pull them to you. But you have to find a way to have a sharp opening. Even if it's an office speech. Even if it's a review of what you did in the quarter. The next part of it is what we all hear. That's the preview of the speech. It's basically give them an idea of what you're going to talk about. What I did for you is I said, this is the Better Speaker series. We're going to learn a way to have better speeches. I gave you a quick overview of what I'm going to say, a preview before I actually said it. One of the things you'll notice here is that you start to see, oh, this thing is powerful. As soon as you see the diamonds, that these diamonds are the same as these, except a little bit smaller, and then in the review at the end, they're the same. So your basic organization is going to be, tell them what you're going to say it, tell them what you said. The main body of a speech. Why does the rule of 3 exist? First of all, how many people here know the rule of 3? Raise your hand if you know the rule of 3. Okay? Someone tell me, what's the basic rule of 3?
3 main ideas.
3 main ideas. Why 3? Why not 15? Joel?
Too many.
Too many.
Two's too few.
If you want 15 details, you will read a book. You will not come to hear a speech. Okay? Why not 2? Why not 1? Anyone? No credibility. Exactly. You can't prove your point if you don't have at least 3. So 3 is a good number. Not only in a 5-minute speech, but even in a 2-hour workshop. If you can break your thing into 3 parts and then break those down into 3, people's ability to listen to it will be a lot better. If you notice here, anyone know what this building is? Palace of Fine Arts. And why do I picture this? 3 pillars holding up the actual point. That's the key thing with the story. What you can barely see in here are the pillars. These are the pillars holding up each of your points. That's what I said in the beginning when I said this is a good day, and then I told you why. Those were the pillars. So make sure that you have the pillars that help the point that you're going to make stand up. So that's basic. We all know the main point. I don't want to spend too much time on that one. But there is another element, and that is a story. A story can also participate in the rule of 3, but in a different way. There are 2 basic themes for the rule of 3 when it comes to a story. One says that there is a setup, then there's tension, and then there's climax. Setup. I was walking down the street and it was a beautiful afternoon. I looked across the street and I saw this really good looking woman in a red dress. Setup. You know where I am, what the details are about it. Tension. All of a sudden, I saw her scream and run. I didn't know what was going on, but I thought, oh my gosh, someone should help her. There's tension. You don't know what's going on. Then the last part is the conclusion. All of a sudden, I looked up and I saw there was a guy and he had a purse. And I thought, oh my God, that must be her purse. So I ran across the street and tackled him, gave her the purse, and now I have a date. So you give them the conclusion, the climax of what actually happened. Okay? There are other people that say you need to have your setting, your character, and your plot as the 3 points. But there's still kind of a 3 points version of what you need to do when telling a story. So it doesn't matter if you're telling a story or you have 3 main points. You should still generally stick with the rule of 3s in the main part. Now your closing is very similar to your opening. You notice here I have the blood again. You want to make them feel guilty, you want to cut into them. I have the teardrops again, you want to make them cry. But now I have a lightning bolt. Why? Because I like to end mine with a challenge. For example, tomorrow I'll be working with Lindsay doing part of this presentation for students, and it's a full 2-hour workshop, and the challenge is they're going to leave with a pocket speech. And you'll see that some of the handouts that I gave you to take notes on, it says pocket speech because it's actually a workshop, and you walk away with a pocket speech, and I have you fold it up, put it in your pocket, and say, guess what? You have a pocket speech in your pocket, always carried with you. And I open up by saying, stand up, reach into your pocket, tell me what's in your pocket. And people yell it out, and I go, how many people have a speech in your pocket? You see? So my opening and closing are some type of challenge. All right? So your closing is going to be like your opening. You're going to have your review of what you just said, but then you're going to end with your sharp conclusion. Find a way to kind of cut into them. Now, this structure you'll see is kind of a parallel structure. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is one of the things that's mostly missed is that the speech, the opening, and the closing should tie together. For example, the MC Hammer analogy. It was a great example that Nicole gave. She used the MC Hammer analogy in the beginning, but she even did it better. I mean, why is a diamond the strongest natural element on the planet? What about a diamond structure makes it so strong? It's the lattice structure in the middle. Everything is so well perfectly connected. That's what you did with MC Hammer. You put MC Hammer throughout the entire speech. All right? This is a similar way of doing the opening and closing connection. I say at least have your opening and closing, but if you're really good, you'll do what Nicole did and actually weave it throughout your entire speech, whatever that kind of theme is. But if your opening and closing have the same point, have the same style, then people will remember it. If you open with a question, then you close with an answer. How many people here would like to be great speakers? Now you've learned everything you need to be a great speaker. Now go out and make speeches. You see how the beginning and the end, the opening and the closing, has something to do with each other. Okay? So if you start off with close your eyes, think about, then you might want to end with now open your eyes and do. You see, you find a way to make the connection between the two. So make sure that your opening and closing are directly tied to each other. Guarantee you it'll make your speech more effective. And then lastly, mark or map your transitions. Sometimes you have fewer speakers and they'll just go from one point to another point and they don't kind of let you know when they're moving on. The human brain has a short attention span, especially for one person sitting in front of a room. Again, if we want to be bored, we'll read a book. All right? But a book even has chapters. You know where you're going to go to the next one. So you need to have chapters. Again, Nicole made a perfect example. She talked about 3 ways they were going to deal with the debt crisis. And she said one here, and we knew that was the left. We had one here, we knew that was kind of the center. And we had one over here, and we knew it was the right. Because she physically moved. She transitioned her body, so our brains would transition with the ideas. And the other great thing about using the floor space for that is you can refer back to yourself. You can refer back to the left. Alright? So in other words, you have to find a way to actually mark these transitions. You have to transition people. When I gave my icebreaker at Rhino Toastmasters, I physically started off here in English, moved the lectern here, reintroduced myself in German, moved the lectern here, reintroduced myself in Spanish, as the 3 main languages that marked different points in my life. Find a way to actually physically transition so people's mind will move with what you're actually saying. The other thing with your transitions is there's 3 parts of the speech. If you don't memorize a speech like me, I've memorized 1 speech in my whole life. I have ADHD. Memorization is not in my skill set. I do not memorize speeches, but what I do try and memorize is the opening, the closing, and the transitions. And the reason I try and memorize the transitions, or if you take notes, highlight them, is because we always think about the main points, but we don't think about the transitions. So make sure you find a way to mark and think about those transitions. So basically that is the Brilliant Diamond speech approach. And the whole point is this. This is stuff that most of you already know. For a few of you, it might be new information. But what I've given you is an easy visual way to look at your speech, to start to craft your speech. Or if you're someone who says, okay, you know what, I write my own speeches, I do it my own way, fine. When you're done, you put up that diamond and you make sure that your speech has all the elements of a brilliant diamond. So that way your brilliant diamond will always be shining and showcase itself. And that is the Brilliant Diamond speech crafting technique.